home. Come on. Okay, Rabotai, today's shiur is special dedication for a Holocaust survivor. He passed away 2 weeks ago. His name is Menachem Mendel ben Rachel Leah. So you have to understand, it's a very, very Hashui family. Passed away, you know what I'm saying? Holocaust survivor, it's not a joke. It's a real thing. And therefore we have to really make this special shiur. Menachem Mendel ben Rachel Leah. So, Rabotai, there was one time in Europe, a very, very interesting story. There was a rabbi, and he was in this, whatever, there was a case, something was going on, and two of the goyim were speaking amongst each other. Habib, two of the goyim were speaking amongst each other. And this guy, this Jewish guy, this Jewish rabbi was standing in front of them. And as he's standing in front of them, the Jewish guy hears them speaking to each other in a different language. Let's say French. Right? So the rabbi starts walking out of the room. And these two goyim say, Rabbi, how disrespectful is that? We're in the middle of talking, we're in a conversation, we start speaking in a different language, you walk out in the middle of the conversation, we're speaking to you as well. He says, I know, but the fact that you went ahead and you switched the language and you switched it to French, that means you don't want me to hear. And you think that I don't know French. I know French, and therefore I want to keep your conversation private, so therefore I'm leaving. Wow! The two goyim like, wow! Rabbi, you're the greatest, you're the most amazing thing, you're awesome. Why do they say that? Because there's something in life called eavesdropping. You ever hear what it's called? Eavesdropping? What are it called? Eavesdropping? How sometimes it's none of your business, and you get involved. And it can happen. Your parents, it could be a kid, a young fellow, teenage kid, or even younger, right? The parents are talking, and the child is eavesdropping. He wants to hear what's going on. Where's the respect? That's not respectful, right? So, as well, two people are having a conversation, they're talking private. It happened to me actually last week. I was on the phone with somebody, and somebody actually happens to be, I was actually tell you the whole story if you want to hear. It was an amazing story. So, I went to my mother-in-law's house. She was away. I went to my mother-in-law's house to pick up something, and on the time, I had a private call. So when I went to my mother-in-law's, I said, where's the most private spot right now? My mother-in-law's away. I could take the house myself. I stayed there. I put on the thing. I was on a Zoom call, whatever the call was. It was a private call. And when I walked in, the alarm went on. I got the code right away, put it in, boom, it was over. But this alarm system is automatically one of the relatives of her that's on the list, has to be called, has to be notified to actually go to the house to find out what happened. That's how I didn't know that. So as I'm on the phone, one of my relatives that's on this list barges in, and I got so scared. He tells me, "You're scared? I was scared. What are you doing over here? It's supposed to be alarm. It's supposed to be quiet." But the greatest thing about it, I'll tell you what happened. I was on a very important phone call, and he saw the person that I was with, and he's like, he didn't say a word. He walked out. I said, this is a dignified man. Why? Because he could have easily said, oh, what are you doing there? Oh, who are you talking to? No, he understands. No eavesdropping. It's not your business. I'm doing my thing. If I wanted to, I would tell you. So in life, there's sometimes, even in Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year, what it says in the Yom Kippur Vidui? Lior, you know what it says? It says, Gilinu Sod Haberenu. You know what that means? We revealed our friend's secret. Well, big deal. So I can't reveal my friend's secret? There's no eavesdropping. Things are private. They don't want you to know. You have to go blabber it out. And the question is, where does he even say this dignified manner of not to eavesdrop? From this week's Parashat. Say, where? Where do you find it? Where do you find it? So I'll tell you. It's the beginning of the Parashat. Moshe and Aaron, really, they're speaking to Paro, right? They go in, right? And they're telling them about the Makkah that's about to happen. And so they're going, the Arbe, the locust is going to come. You have the Barat, right? And what does it say? It says, Paro didn't give them the the answer. You want to do tshuva, you don't, what's the story? What do you want? You want it to come down? You want to let the people go or no? You want to let the people go or no? What do? They walk out right away. But Paro didn't finish with them. What's going on? They just walked out. You know, they still didn't, Paro didn't give the answer now, and they just walked out. What did Moshe and Aaron see? They saw that Paro was going to his advisors and asking advisors, what do you think, what should we do? So they were Moshe and Aaron, they're not being disrespectful of what v'yifen v'yetzem Paro. They're not being disrespectful by leaving Paro, even though Paro didn't give the answer, because Paro, the next pasuk says, v'yimru avdei Paro elav. He wants to get advice from his advisors. What do you want to do? And therefore, Moshe and Aaron says, listen, that's none of our business. You, what's the answer with you? And therefore, it's an important lesson in life, because a lot of times you'll have people that want to keep things private. And sometimes you want to nudge them until you grab it out of them. And sometimes they want it private. They don't want you to listen. Or sometimes you'll have parents, they'll be talking. You know, I have it sometimes. Some of them are speaking to my Rebbitzin, we're talking, all of a sudden, you have one of the little kids. They want to hear what mommy and daddy speaking. Excuse me, it's not your business. It's not the time now. You know what I mean? And this is what it is. This is the first lesson we're learning in Parashat Bo. First lesson is, Abotai, don't eavesdrop. You know, you want to hear things, you want to know things. What you're supposed to know, you're going to know. What you're not supposed to know, you're not going to know. And therefore, this is the first lesson. Leo, you got that or no? Very important, huh? No joke, very important. And also, Gilul Sodo Haverim is very important as well. What is that? Is about, like we said, about saying somebody else's secret. Sometimes it's private. You want to hear something crazy, a phenomenal story? Like, so you have to understand. Sometimes, a lot of times in life, it's private. And nobody should know. Like, for example, a person buys a piece of property. He doesn't want everybody to know. It's a private thing. Now you go ahead. Oh, you heard he bought. Whoa. How do you know everybody wants to know? How do you know everybody wants to know? You know what I'm saying? It's like a little bit. So therefore, you have to know certain things we don't speak about. We don't eavesdrop. This is what the Torah is saying. V'yifen v'yetzeh min Paro. What does it mean? It says, Moshe and Aaron were so dignified when they saw that Paro was going to his advisors. They said, let us leave. You have your privacy. You have to do. And this is one lesson, first lesson that we're learning in this Parashat. Second lesson. You ready for this? There is a story. There's a story in Brisk. Major story in Brisk. And it happens to be with the Brisker Rav. What's the story? The story goes like this. There was two wealthy individuals in the town, and there was a little bit of a little bit of an argument. And the Brisker Rav from Brisk, he wanted to make shalom benehem, right? What does it say in Pirkei Avot? Ohev shalom, rodef shalom. I want you to explain. I want you to hear that. It didn't say Ohev shalom, lech to do peace. It says rodef shalom. And I want to tell you a famous story that I hold personally in my life that I love like a passion, by the way. I love this like a passion, and I know you heard it, but it's an amazing story. Hear it again and again. And it happened to me. It happened to me on my block. On my block, there was a guy, and his kids were on top of a roof on the garage. That's what happened. He was on top of a roof on a garage. And one of the neighbors, the guy it's his garage, he's on his thing. He starts screaming at the kid, "Get off now! Get off now! What are you doing? Get over that!" You know, and the wife of the mother of this boy comes out. "What are you screaming at my kid for?" Lady starts screaming at her, "Lady, your son almost fell off the roof. What are you telling me? Don't scream!" It was the whole thing. Now the husband comes home. This guy is a huge guy. He's huge. He's not like a small guy. He's not the size of you. You? Yeah? You. Hello, you. It's not the size of you. Much bigger than you. All right? Bigger than him too. All right? Maybe double the size. Big and wide and tall and definitely bigger than Freddie. All right? Big and tall and he's going in like this. And now what happens is, Eddie, if you don't mind, let me see you over here, please. I can't see you. The camera's blocking. So he says, so now he's like this. He comes home, the father comes home, and the wife, this is the way my understanding was, the wife said, "You don't understand what happened when you were at work. So-and-so screamed at me, and he screamed at whatever his name was," right? So the guy gets out, okay? And now, by the way, I'm on the block, you know what I'm saying, right there. Guy gets out, sees the other fellow, grabs, he had a flip phone. literally grabbed his flip phone, cracked it in front of him. Ready? He's like, he wasn't playing games. And the guy got scared. This guy, the neighbor on the block, got very scared. He runs to his house, and he called, I don't know if he called, I don't think it was Shomim at the time, I don't know what it was, but they called 911. 911 came, it was crazy. And came down, and all of a sudden this guy went to his house, and that guy went to his house, and balagan. Bottom line is, it was a whole headache, a headache and a half. Anyway, go in there, in Shmir, right, you said? Shmir Mechila. Shmir what? AMS also he does, yeah, it's great, Kenyan Boo. So he says like this, he came in, and there was a big balagan on my block. Big. Cops, this, that. Anyway, fast forward 3 months later, and this guy who got into a fight, this big guy, they got into a fight with this other guy. Listen, mistakes happen. You know, people gotta forgive. They can't hold a grudge. And sometimes people are gonna maybe insult you many, many times over. It's hard, but the pasuk says, it says, the Gemara says that if you let go, Hashem will let go as well. I mean to say, of course, Hashem is not mevatran, but you mevater, Hashem will be mevater, has shalom. Not to say that he's mevatran and everything, but midah keneg midah. Right? Bottom line is, you have to be light in life. In any case, what happens? The guy comes to me, he gives me a big, big mishlah manot. And he gives me this big, big mishlah manot, and I say, wow, thank you. He says, Rabbi, it's not for you. I said, who is it for? If it's not for me, who is it for? He says, remember 3 months ago I got into a fight with so-and-so? I said, yeah, give it to him in my name. So I go to the other neighbor, and I'm going to the other neighbor like a few houses down from my house, and I'm bringing him a big package like this. He says, why? You didn't have to. Thank you so much. This is so big. I said, this is not from me. It's from so-and-so. Once I saw that, once he saw that it was from so-and-so and he wanted to make peace, he literally got out of his house, went to the other one. You see them on Purim, hugging each other, loving each other. It's like, wow, what happened? The answer is, he understood. He understood that, yeah, you're right, a siksuk happened, something happened, but what? Don't just stand there like stand still. Do whatever you can. You cannot be passive if you can be active in making the shalom. Now, how do we see this? So now the brisker Rav, right, he goes to this wealthy guy and says to him, I want you to come with me to make peace with these two gentlemen that are fighting. Two wealthy guys, I want you to come make peace with them. So what does this wealthy guy says to the brisker Rav? He says, I'd rather be neutral. Now, I'd rather be neutral. Meaning to say, what does he mean, Eddie? I'd rather be neutral. What does that mean, Eddie? He doesn't want, what? No. Leo, what does it mean? He wants to be neutral. What does that mean? Tell me, what does it mean?
Not love, not hate.
He doesn't want to get involved, basically. So now you're going to get me involved. I can help, but I don't want to get involved. So the Rav of Brisk got very upset at that. And he tells him, now I understand, about the dogs in Egypt, that they didn't bark. What is he saying? Now I understand that the dogs of Egypt didn't bark. What does that have to do? What's going on? Like, what? What happened? So he explains like this. Listen to what he says. He says, there's a Gemara that says, what happens when the Malach HaMavet barks? What happens when the Malach HaMavet is around? So the Gemara says what? The dogs bark. When the Malach HaMavet starts coming, the dogs bark. And what happens when Eliyahu Navi is around? The dogs don't bark. Right? The dogs don't bark, right? That's what it says. The Gemara says, when Malach HaMavet's coming, okay, the dogs bark. When Eliyahu Navi, they're very playful. They're very playful. So now here's what he says. He says, we knew that there's a big problem. Why? Because the Makam Bechorot, what was happening? One of the things Malach HaMavet was coming to kill the Bechorim, right? The Egyptian firstborn. Every Egyptian firstborn, the Malach HaMavet is coming down. So what should it be? It should be that the dog should bark. Malach HaMavet is coming down, right? At the same time, Eliyahu Navi, in a sense, is there making sure that Kivyachol, everything is playful, that they're not getting any firstborn of the Jewish people. So now the dog is in a dilemma. In one hand, I can't bark because Eliyahu Navi. In another hand, I could bark because Malach HaMavet is there. He's killing the Egyptian Bechorim. So what do I do? So the dog, what did the dog do? He became neutral, became passive. So he tells this Yid, he tells this Jew, he doesn't do either, he doesn't do it. Bark sometimes, bark none. He says pav. Why are you saying pav? The Muhammad's there, bark. Okay, fine. He's saying Eliyahu Navi's there, so don't bark. What are you doing? You're staying neutral. He says when it comes to peace, we don't become like dogs and stay neutral. We got to go ahead, and if we have the ability to make peace with others, we got to go ahead in our lives, and we have to make sure that we run after to make peace. Is that clear? Is that clear or not? A lot of times it can happen. When a person has to go out of his comfort zone, if he could be the person who can make peace, you cannot be the guy and say, oh, I'll be neutral. No, because I don't want to get involved. If you can get involved and for sure you can make the situation better, you must get involved. You cannot be passive. And I'll tell you, one of the proofs, one of the greatest Gemarot that I love, a lot of people know this Gemara, but it's on Kabet Amud Aleph. It's in Meseh Ta'anit, Kabet Amud Aleph. It says over there that Rabbi Chaza'ah was walking in the marketplace. And he says, who has, he meets Eliyahu Navi, and he tells Eliyahu Navi, who in this place has Olam Haba? So now, the truth is, if you think about it, Kol Yisrael Yesh Olam Haba. It depends what kind of halak. So what's the question really? The question is, who goes straight to Gan Eden without bypassing anything? With bypassing everything, goes straight to Gan Eden. Who is that person? So, first the Gemara says a whole answer of one person. And then all of a sudden, Eliyahu Navi says, there's two people over here that have as well. So he says, what do they do? What do they do? I'll tell you what they do. You ready? I know you know the first part, but the second part not everybody talks about. I'm going to talk about that. What is that? It says, listen what they do. Mayu daichu. Rabbi Chazal goes to him and says, what do you guys do that you're merited to go straight to Gan Eden without any stops? And he says, Ki chaziran betre. When we see two people, we see two people that have a quarrel, a fight against each other, and they make a mahlochet. What does it say? Tarchinan. What does it mean, tarchinan? We toreach, we work so hard. Be'abdinan lehu shalma. And we do as much as we can to make shalom. That's what it is. That's the people that go straight to Gan Eden. This is the two people. What do? One of the things the Gemara quotes is, what do? If there's people that are quarreling, the people are making mahloket, if they have the power, they'll do tes toreach. They do whatever they can in their possibility to make the shalom. Even if you could sketch it and send a package to somebody and say, this is from so-and-so, wow, and whatever it is, whatever it may be, you toreach to make the shalom. You hear that, Rabbi Jamal? You hear that? No, seriously, you have to really toreach. One time, my mother was on a trip, and she told me this story. It's an amazing story. I'll tell you a story. Major story. My mother was on a trip once, and she was sitting down with another lady, younger lady, and another lady sat with her plate next to my mother, across from my mother, and right away she got up. And my mother looked at the girl sitting next to her. What just happened? And she says to my mother, that's my sister-in-law. I haven't spoken to her in years. Says, why? And she tells him the whole entire thing back and forth because this, that. My mother gets up. This is a true story. My mother told me the story. My mother gets up. She goes to the sister-in-law and she says to her, you know how I was sitting, you saw me sitting next to your sister-in-law, right? He says, yeah, that's why I got up because my sister-in-law was right there. He says, do you know, my mother's telling this lady, do you know how bad she feels that you're in a quarrel? Do you know that all she's thinking about is making peace with you? That's all she's thinking about. All she wants is to be beshalom with you. I mean, let's try to go overcome this. And this lady, she's saying, really she said that? Really? She really says she really wants to make peace? Yeah! She really wants to make shalom with you. And then she goes to my mother. It's a true story. My mother went to the other lady and says, let's just make peace. Would you come with me to your sister-in-law and just hug and this? And that's what happened. On the trip, my mother told me they made shalom, they made peace. Who thinks like that? The answer is, if you have the ability two people are quarreling, two people are fighting, and sometimes it could be about the biggest shtuyot in the world. It's such nonsense. That's what it is. There was one great rabbi in maybe 100 years ago. He passed away. I remember a big Chacham sat down with me and told me this story. We were sitting down, we were learning Ma'amar Haronim, the sugya of Ma'amar Haronim, and he told me this story in the shiur. What was the story? There was a person. He was one big dayan, very big dayan, and he was eating. He was finishing his bread, and a couple walks in. And he said, Rabbi, we got to talk to you. Want to get right now, get the dayan, get the this, that. And the rabbi's talking to them, did that. And he said, how many years you married? All of a sudden, his Ma'amar Haronim, it was made out of clay. And it falls and it breaks, it shatters. The rabbi says, I can't believe it broke. Oh my goodness, my Ma'amar Haronim broke. It was like a thing broke. You know how many years I have this for? How many years you married? Come on. I feel bad this broke. Imagine how Hashem's going to feel if this marriage is going to be broken. If I feel bad from a vessel that just broke on me, I had it for many years. You're so married, come on. You know how bad Hashem's going to feel if you get shattered? I get shattered from this. Imagine what Hashem's going to feel when you get shattered. You guys can't make peace. You guys can't make shalom. I'm telling you, the Yad, right away, he came from his heart so much to the couple. The couple said, okay, Rabbi, all right, let's just forget about it. And a lot of times, by the way, fights can stop. Fights, I say, is like the game of ping pong. What do I mean, fights is like a game of ping pong? I'll tell you, very simple. How do you play ping pong? Joe, you're a pro. You're a ping pong pro, you know? Well, how do you play ping pong? You hit the ball, and the guy hits the ball. Hit the ball, hit the ball. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's how you play ping pong, no? Cham Yehuda, yeah? That's how you play. Now imagine, right now, the person hitting the ball takes the racket and just throws it on the floor. What happens? There's no more ping pong. Right? That's exactly fighting. How does a fight start? Oh, you said this, he says that, he says this, he says that. But if one of them just swallows their pride and just hears it and just, doesn't answer back at all, the game of ping pong stops. There's no more fighting anymore. Understand what's going on? How do you think husband and wife, how does it start? It starts with one comment, tak, tak, tak. I know a couple that told me, Rabbi, we can always have shalom. He says, why? He says, the night of the wedding, when we went to the Yichud room, our handshake was basically husband and wife. We don't go to sleep before, if there's any fights during the day, we hash it out completely. We're not going to go to sleep unless everything is hashed out. And that's still today we do that. If there's any little small fight that we had during the day, because what happens? Then it builds. Then again, it's the ping pong. All of a sudden, they both surrender. Both ping pong rackets fall by the night. That's it, khalas, finished. It's done. Okay, start fresh. You forgive me, I forgive you. That's it. Everything is done. Khalas, that's it. New chapter tomorrow. That's it. That's how it is. We're closing it down. Otherwise, it boils up again, and the fight doesn't stop. It didn't stop. Then tomorrow, fighting, and it builds and builds and builds. Before you know it, it's World War VII. What happened? It was supposed to be a small little thing, and it became a whole thing. What is it? Because it's like the ping pong fight. Drop it. Okay. Sometimes your wife can rebuke you. Good. No? Huh? Yes or no? Huh? Sometimes your wife can give it to you so good. And you're like, I can't. What are you talking about? Quiet. Zip it. Same thing with friends, by the way. Lior, same thing with friends. Some friends, they can go at it. No joke. Some friends, they go out, bach. You got to be the man and say, you know what, I'm going to be the man over here. I'll take it. You want to scream? Scream. Let all your frustration out. I'm not going to answer back because I know if I answer back, it's going to go balagan, fight. And that's really what the Brisker Rav was telling this man. You have a chance to do peace. In this case, you're right, the dog was great. It didn't bark. We give him reward. But over here in this situation, he was in a situation where Eliyahu Navi is holding peace amongst the Jewish Bechor. Malach HaMavet's killing the Egyptian Bechor. The dog is in a standstill. He goes neutral. He goes neutral. He's not neutral. When it comes to peace, though, we don't like dogs. When it comes to peace, we got to take. If you have the ability to take action, you take action. If you have the ability, sometimes you don't have the ability. And sometimes if you get involved, sometimes a rarity, sometimes you can make it even worse. But if you have the ability to go ahead and to make the shalom and make the peace, then that's what you do. There was one rabbi that was in the community that he would hear sometimes this couple fighting, and he would bedavka walk right by the window. Like he heard the fights, and they were fighting by the window. He would dafka walk. This is a long time ago, not in our community, long time ago. He would walk bedavka like that, because now they see the rabbi. The rabbi is an older man. He's walking by. He's old. Imagine an old zaken walking by with a thing, and you're hearing a couple fighting in the window. They're gonna stop. Oh, Ija Chacham came. Everybody stops. Chacham. He did it on purpose. He's going around the whole block instead of going straight. Why? Because he heard some noise. Maybe they're fighting. He wants to make the peace. He was matriach himself to go ahead and to make the peace. You hear what's going on? You hear how important it is? You hear how important it is? Now I'm going to just conclude one last thing. And that is, you ready? And that is one of the mitzvot. One of the mitzvot. Joe, this is for you one. You ready, Joey? Ready. Joey Sabana Kohen. You're a Kohen, right? Joe. Saban. Yeah. Huh? So now I want to just quote you one last thing. One last thing, and I will end off with this. It says over here that one of the mitzvot, Hashem says, "Vayomer Eloheinu Moshe ve'Aaron be'eretz Mitzrayim lemor hachodesh hazeh lachem rosh chodashim." One of the mitzvot over here is hachodesh hazeh lachem. What does it mean hachodesh hazeh lachem? Mark, what does it mean hachodesh hazeh lachem? This is the mitzvah of Rosh Chodesh, where it's starting, right? But what is Rosh Chodesh? Rosh Chodesh is when we're telling you the Zman. Oh, notice today's Rosh Chodesh. By tonight's Rosh Chodesh, right? Right? Wait. Tonight's it says, what is it? Rosh Chodesh is a Zman. What's the Rosh Chodesh is a Zman? Is a time. It's time. Why is it now does Hashem give us the mitzvah of Chodesh Hazeh Lachem, the time zone of learning time? You know what the answer is? Till now, we're getting freed now. We're about to get freed. At the end of the Parashat, by the end of Bo, by Shalach, we're getting out. Why is Hashem giving it to us now? I'll tell you why. Because up until now, we didn't have our own time. We were time bound by who? By Paro. Anything he wanted, it was his time. Now Hashem says, I'm giving you the mitzvah of time. HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. You can count, start calling Rosh Chodesh, and now you're going to have all the time. But what are you going to do with your free time? You know what Hashem says? Right after, what does it say by Beshalach? What after that, what do we have? Which parasha is it? Yitro. What's in Parashat Yitro? The Ten Commandments, the Torah. Hashem says, now you have all, I'm giving you the mitzvah of time right now. Now you have the time because you're not involved by slaves of being for Paro. Now I'm going to give you the mitzvah of time. What are you supposed to do with your time? Learn the Torah. You hear that? Learn the Torah. Get busy learning the Torah. Get busy learning the Torah. Out of all the mitzvot, if you Ram Talmud Torah Kenei Kulam, out of all the mitzvot, if you take all 612 mitzvot, and you take the mitzvah of Talmud Torah, what outweighs all the 612 mitzvot? Talmud Torah, like it says, Talmud Torah Kenei Kulam. If you just saw what happens in Shamayim when you learn, if you saw it in your own eyes, how come you can't see? If you saw what happens when you start learning Torah, any Torah, if you saw, you'd go wow. Because what? Hashem's telling you that with your free time you build Torah. You're bringing to the world such barakah into the entire world. You're bringing barakah to your life. You're bringing barakah, you're making the world a better place. Because it's Hashem's Torah, it's Bezrat Hashem. Bezrat Hashem will be zocher for these lessons. One is again, Vayifen v'yetzem min paro, which you don't eavesdrop on people. Second is, run if you can make peace. Run to go make the peace. We saw the Olam above them, that he saw that he had Gan Eden direct. And three, the third thing is, we said when you have the time, when Hashem gave you all the time, now what are we supposed to do with it? Make sure you learn His holy Torah. Have a wonderful day. Guys,